Hi, Dieter with Face Off Ebikes. This will be the assembly video for the Switchback bikes. They're all very similar, same frame. There'll be some differences with the all-wheel drive with the front wheel, and then bikes with the roll-off or the Bafang 5-speed hub. We'll have different videos to address those specific issues, but this will be the basic assembly for the bike. Bike will ship like this. You're gonna have to install the handlebars, front tire, and the crank arms and pedals is the basic assembly, along with some of the front and rear baskets. The bike's out of the box with all the other parts. First thing I usually do is inflate the tires. I inflate the tires on my bikes to 12 PSI. You're not going to want to run much more than that because that's really going to compress the Tannis tire liner, so you're going to lose a lot of the benefit from that liner. And then if you're going to store the bike for an extended period of time, Tannis recommends that you take the air out of the tire to allow that liner to kind of reshape itself and maintain some of the thickness rather than being significantly compressed over a long period of time. First thing we're going to do is install that front tire. Sometimes it's easier to do with two people, where you can have one person lifting up on the fork so you can position the tire. The two larger bolts on the sides are 6mm, and actually the more important ones are the 4 that are in the front, and those are 4mm, and those 4mm bolts actually prevent the axle from turning so that the wheel can work properly. So the 2 on the side kind of get everything set as a safety feature, and then the 4 on the front secure the axle to the fork. A couple things to watch out for when you remove these protective covers. You want to make sure that you don't take off part of the axle. And then before you install the tire, there's going to be a brake guard that prevents you from accidentally touching the brakes. So you're going to want to remove this piece in order to fit the disc brake part into the brake caliper. So we got the front tire on. Again, tighten the sides first. Once you have side pressure on the tire, then you're going to want to make sure that these 4 on the front are nice and tight to prevent that axle from spinning on itself. Next thing we're going to do is the headset. So the top part of the headset is a 5mm, and then the sides are 4mm. This is backwards right now. Your headset should be firm, but you're not going to want to over tighten that. You should be in absolutely no risk of stripping this out. And you never want to tighten or loosen the top bolt without loosening the sides. These 2 side bolts are actually what secures the headset when riding, and this top bolt just sets everything in place so that you can secure these 2 bolts. So I'm going to just loosen this slightly, turn that facing forward, and I'm just going to get it nice and firm where you're putting pressure on the bearings, but you don't want to over tighten that. As long as you don't have anything loose in your headset, you're plenty taut from the top part. So we have that pretty much set. We're going to go on to setting the handlebars. So you're going to remove this top plate. Again, a 4mm. I believe these are a little smaller. I can't remember the size, but you're going to want to remove that, take off all the wrapping on the handlebars, and we'll get those set. When you attach the handlebars to the handlebar stem, usually I'll get these 2 bolts finger tight, and then I actually tighten these lower ones first, just because they have a smaller 3mm head and there's more risk of stripping that out. So I'll tighten these bottom ones first. You can see that the spacer goes between the light bracket and the headset stem, so that gets the light out forward. So I'll tighten these first and then finish up by getting these nice and secure on the top. Now we're going to put on the crank arms. So they're clearly labeled right and left side. You got to make sure they go on the right side, and then that they're pointing in opposite directions. So the right side we'll put downward, and then the left side we'll put upward. The foot fetish pedals are also labeled left and right. Regardless of what side, when they twist on, they're always going to be twisting towards the front of the bike. So this will be turning like this, and then in the rear it's also going to be turning like that, and that prevents you from loosening the pedal while you're actually pedaling the bike. We're going to install the face-off, flex-off fender designed to get out of the way. I have the zip ties all loaded up. Pretty simple. You're just going to get into position. I usually get the top ones on there a little bit loose to start. Then the sides. On this side, you might have to lower where the brake cable tender is. I had already put it down a little bit. But I'll come in here, get the top ones in position. Cable tender's actually in the way, so we will lower that a little bit. Now we can get the top ones secure, followed by the side ones. And then we're good to go clearance wise. Big thing is it gets out of the way for the battery, or if you need to hang your front tire over your truck. Once you're done, just cut the remaining length of the zip tie. And you're good to install the front basket. Front basket installation with the 5mm Allen. The big thing is to get the wires up out of the way. You can't have them pinched behind anything. You want them up above the basket. So you'll kind of loosely set the bolts, push the wires up. We actually extended the brake cable length to prevent binding and allow you to use taller set of handlebars if you want. I got one in, just kind of loosely get them before you really start cranking them down.
The antler grip bowl holder can be attached to the front basket with the 2 included bolts. I usually put some duct tape on any contact points to prevent any rattling. Once you have the bowl holder in place, you can secure the Copeland grips. If your bow's particular axle measurement doesn't quite fit, you can leave one Copeland grip attached to the anti-rotation tab and then move the other Copeland grip to any point on the round bar. For the rear rack, you're going to want to start with attaching the legs loosely to the frame and then attaching the top. After that, you can secure everything nice and tight. On the arrowhead rack, there's actually a cross support, and the middle bolt of the upper leg is the 50mm bolt that passes through the leg and into the rear fender.
The rear fender on the LoneWolf rack, you're going to position it, go in with the long 50mm bolt to the top hole, and you're going to have to center the fender on either side. So I have the one end right there to hold it, and then the second one right here. That'll center the fender, and then you're gonna have to come back here, decide where you want it, and then you're gonna have to drill a single hole in whatever position you want to secure it up here. But once it's centered, then I just tighten both sides, and it'll lock that rear fender right in position. The installation of the patent pending wings on the pack rack. You can take your long bolt, small washer, that goes onto the rack. Then your large washer is going to separate from the wing itself. And then you're going to come with another small washer and then the bolt. The LoneWolf hardware is actually standard, so the wrench for this will be 7/16. Tighten them up till you're comfortable with how they move, and then you're good to go. Right about there, then they move nice, don't stick. Get out of the way for you. Thanks again for your purchase of the Switchback. You're going to want to recheck a lot of these bolts in the next couple weeks just to make sure that everything stays snug. The bike is designed for off-road use, so if you're going to be taking it onto the highways or roadways, you're going to want to get some more rear reflectors or rear lights, and then wear any necessary safety equipment like helmets, etc., just to make sure that you're safe. But the bikes are designed to handle all sorts of hunting specific conditions. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. We do everything we can to take care of our customers, and thanks again for your purchase.